What is up, guys? Mcdoubles back here with a brand new video, and today I want to check out Conquest of Azeroth. It's been a little bit since we've looked at it, but what I want to do today is get on a Venomancer on their closed alpha, and what I want to do is check out the STALKER spec, and in the process, what we're going to do is look at some of their community posts on Discord, see the trajectory that Koa is currently going on, give some comments on that, and then ultimately, as a lot of the videos recently have been, I want to see what you guys have to say about everything I talk about in the comment section below. I'm super curious right now where Koa's going, what it's going to end up looking like, how quickly they can get there, and also just what you guys think of their design on this Venomancer so far, because really, it's really good. Like, they have great art assets, a great art team, their animations are amazing, everything's going good, their decision making in so many different aspects is great, but we've talked about some of the pitfalls as well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's jump right in. Okay, guys, so listen up. I basically want to try Koa. I want to see if they've put anything right now on the alpha that, you know, can be a sign of hope. And I want to do it on something that's actually interesting. So I thought, let's remake the Venomancer, play through it a little bit. I've got like a quadrillion XP pots and stuff on here. Should be a quick level. We can see if the classes are any different and how that functions out as well. So let's enter the world. Oh, guys, I'm in game. I was going to take a second to level to 10, but I saw something I had to point out. A cultist trainer, Patal the Mad. So they are going with the trainers, it seems. I really like that idea. They did tell me that one of the main things they were working on was, well, they said it in a different way, but I'm going to put it in the way that I understood it, professionalizing everything. So they're going to have like starter, maybe lore or quests or something like that for all the classes. And it looks like I see a Reaper trainer right there. It looks like they're adding all the trainers in the world as well. That's really going to make it feel real, by the way, and that's a big deal. What they definitely need to do is remove the old trainers, or just get rid of the name Hunter Trainer, Warrior Trainer, because they put a Guardian Trainer here, which is freaking badass. Great job, guys. Love that. Didn't notice it till now. But yeah, just remove the old ones, in my opinion, because that's really going to add to the immersion. Barbarian Trainer, Venomancer Trainer. Hey, there we go. That's a big deal, because it's going to start being very clear to me how the design of this is actually going to play out in regards to what level you get your abilities. Is there going to be a lot of bloat in that regard? And we're going to see more of what they actually want us to get at each level, rather than before, where you kind of had to wonder, is this how you guys want it, or is it ragtag right now? I do really like this so far, so that's a really good start. Getting to level 10, seeing how they do the talents, that's a big deal. I don't know anything for sure, but it's possible they do Dragonflight stuff. I've been talking a lot to Dutch about this in the background, just to get a little bit of an update, because I think they are going pretty slow. Oh my god, look at this! Shadra's Vigil. Dismiss. So it's oh wait, okay, so I didn't have to go to a trainer for that. That's kind of weird. But the really interesting thing is that I got to level 2 and I was immediately given a card. I can dismiss it, but it tells me what the ability is, and it's a heal. Now, I won't go hyper in-depth into this because we have a Venomancer playthrough, but it scales with Spirit. It's both the heal and a shield, I think. When it ends, it procs a shield. Okay, so that was very interesting. Again, it might be placeholder right now until they get the trainers ready, so at least the trainers are in the game. But anyway, I know a lot of you guys have been in my comment section, and you've been in my Discord, and you're like, you know what? Koa was a cash grab. It's not going to come out, stuff like that, right? I don't know if it's a cash grab per se at all. I don't think it is necessarily. What I actually think happened is it was too big for their britches. That's what it kind of was. So they're going way slower than they thought. I do know from talking to some of the devs about this that some of them don't consider this slow when I say it's been 2 years, right, since we've stayed in closed alpha. They say that's not slow. We're doing it good. Now, I said that I disagree with that. Maybe they've changed their tune a bit. I don't know. Maybe not. But the point is, it wasn't coming from a malicious point of view. That's all I'm trying to explain to you with the honesty there. It looks more to me like they thought they were perfectly in the right. So I wouldn't be in fear of this being a cash grab, but you can still certainly be disappointed that it took so long to come out. Anyway, we did get to level 4. Scorpid Claw, Scorpid Form. Okay. That's probably placeholder, but it might not be. I just don't know what the trainer is for. I could see it being when you learn it from the trainer, the card pops up. But also, they have to think hard about the card thing. I won't lie, they did a really good job with the aesthetic of the cards, but does it match Koa? No, it doesn't match Koa at all. But here's what we got. Scorpid Form and Scorpid Claw. I'm pretty confident last time we played a Venomancer, we didn't actually transform as often. So we're going to do more of that in this video for sure, and just like chill out here. I think the Scorpion form, which is so freaking awesome, by the way, is a tank form. Yeah, I think it is. But eventually, we'll get a DPS form, and I'm going to like that more. So I have Scorpid Claw right now for nature damage to up to 3 enemies, generating rage, and every 6th of these applies my Fang Venom effect. Now, I didn't even go over that, but Fang Venom is basically a buff I put on myself to just say we'll do extra damage. That's what it basically does. So we can try. Oh my goodness. Look at the little weapon in my hand. Oh my god, please take that out. Well, maybe not, actually, keep it. Oh, it's still bugged, actually, 2 years later, where your guy will freeze up like this and stop moving properly. That's okay, you know, it's okay. It's the little things, right? They'll fix it. It'll be fine. That's dead. Nice. Okay, let's go turn this in, guys. Okay, cutting teeth. Turn that in. Level 5. All right, guys. Let me power level over to 10 real quick, and we'll check out the talents. Okay, guys. So I'm level 15 right now, and I did actually very, very early. I don't remember it being this early. Maybe it has been this way the entire time, but as I said, I don't remember it. But I got the Stalker form, okay? So we are a spider, and this would be the DPS form, like the agility, kind of like feral cat equivalent. I have things like, let's see, we have spider jump, which I can show you. It's a rage-based spec, by the way, not an energy-based spec. That's at least very unique. So you can actually root somebody for 2.5 seconds, kind of like charge, but really, really, really long range. The main attack you start with, though, is Venom Bite, which is just like nature damage. It also applies a nature damage dot over time. Also, if you get multiple stacks, you reduce the nature resistance of somebody with that lethal toxin buff you see in the tooltip. So, okay, let me show you guys real quick this jump. So, you have a dire modeled boar, and boom! That's actually a beautiful animation. That's really, really well done. I actually already used it one time before showing it to you guys, and I did not expect it to look like that. I thought it was going to look like garbage, but that's actually incredible. So, honestly, really good job, guys. Now, the main point of this video, in many ways, obviously just getting to max level is kind of irrelevant. The abilities are the same based on what I'm looking at right now, but I wanted to show you guys the talent system and then talk about their Discord post about the talents and just some words on that. So, if I go to the talents, you see we have Rot, Stalking, and Fortitude as their specs. Rot, for some reason, is the healing spec. That's kind of weird. Then we have Stalking, which is going to be that spider spec, basically, and Fortitude, which is going to be the scorpion spec. So it's really like a druid in many ways. So you can see every spec has a passive, every spec has a core ability, and every spec has another core ability. And so these are going to be like the main things that kind of point you in the direction of how the spec is supposed to be played. This is directly taken from the way that Retail WoW does stuff now, so I would say it's not bad. The descriptions are for Rot, uses poisons, diseases, and fungal magic to heal allies and destroy enemies over time. So they do want it to be a DPS spec. Okay, so that makes some sense, I guess. It's literally a druid, but with their own take, right? And then we have, let's see, for Stalking, take on the form of a spider to strike down foes from the shadows. And then for Fortitude, take on the form of a scorpion to defend your allies from harm. So if I select Stalking real quick, it picks it, as you can see. Then you can go back, and apparently in your 30s, you can actually see the full talents. Before I go anywhere, though, I want to show you guys this ability I got called Tunnel Below. It's just really, really unique, and we probably looked at it like, what, 8, 9, 10 months, maybe even a year ago when I played this class, but it's been a while, so if I use it, you can see I'm under the ground. Now, they'd have to do something about that weapon, but, I mean, honestly, it's kind of hilarious, but you're supposed to be underground. So the way it works is you burrow beneath the ground, hiding from your enemies and allowing you to strike from the shadows, so like stealth, right? While tunneling, Venom Fang has no cost, does more damage, and stuns, so it's a combination of like cheap shot or prowl with like an ambush-esque effect as well. So I think you guys are getting a pretty good idea of what this spec is supposed to be right off the bat, right? It's feral cat, but with its own, you know, Venomancer take, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's log on my other Venomancer and just take a look at the talents real quick. And then what I want to do is go over what they posted on their Discord about how they're going to handle talents. We'll talk about Koa for a split second, and then you can hopefully let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts on Koa so far are, in terms of, are you still excited for it? Do you still want to play it? Do you still have hope for it? And all that jazz. Let's do it. Okay, thank God I still have Hydralisk level 50, and that tells you a lot, because I can put up on the screen now when I made the video for this Venomancer, and so, level 50 has been the cap for a very, very long time. So, okay, this is their current talent system. This is the thing I've been highly critical of from the very beginning in every iteration that it's ever existed in. I've never felt like it was actually very well designed, but it looks like they agree with me. As you can see, just to make it very clear, because this is going to be going away, and people might not truly understand it, or they haven't paid attention to it, or they just don't know. The way this works is that it's not even a talent system, it's an ability tree. An ability tree is basically what Blizzard ended up doing post Mist of Pandaria to completely destroy the old talent systems and slim them down into very, very simplistic versions of what they once were. So, in a talent tree, you have a bunch of different passives and stuff, right? You work your way down the tree, and typically, depending on the expansion for sure, you can go into another tree that you can then start to diversify yourself with. And I admit, sometimes going into other trees is irrelevant for certain classes or specs. It just doesn't matter as much, and it wasn't always well designed, right? But it was certainly more interesting than an ability tree, which I could put up on the screen right now. We got this from Blizzard. It's literally pick one of 3 abilities all the way down the line, and they rehashed old abilities that you already had access to in previous expansions and just made you pick them again. That's garbage, and everybody agreed, including the modern Blizz team, because they recreated the old talent trees, and that's what we got in Dragonflight, which, you know, they're not perfect, but they're certainly better than anything we've had in the last, like, 6 years of World of Warcraft retail, so big win on Dragonflight's side of things. Now, despite all of that very obvious history that people who are doing this for a living should have by just learning about World of Warcraft, playing it, and, you know, getting paid for it, which, by the way, is theoretically me, because I make videos for it, so I'm right there with them, right? They decided to go for an ability tree anyway, and they thought they could reinvent the wheel, quite literally, because as you can see, there's a bunch of, you know, circles and stuff, you know what I mean? It looks like a big old wheel. And I think what really went down here is I think you can actually get into the mind of Ascension themselves, okay? When I look at stuff like this, I start trying to read who these people are and why they decide to make what they make. And when we end up reading what they post on their Discord, it's even going to make more sense, because what I say is going to be happening once again, just luckily this time it's going to benefit us, and not be something that innately takes away from the game. The Ascension devs, they look at retail WoW all the time, and they look at it because they want to backport new assets and new functionality from Dragonflight or Shadowlands or BFA, right? And they want to take it and put it on their version of WoW, which is a Wrath client. The reason they want to do this is because, number one, it draws in retail players who like the new features, like when, for example, Ascension added the new profession system from retail straight onto Ascension, or the group finder, right? So this is something they do all the time. They're always looking out for this. It's less about making unique stuff and more about backporting retail stuff. And I'm not actually being critical of that, because, quite frankly, it's a World of Warcraft private server. That's probably one of the smartest things you can do, is just take stuff from World of Warcraft and make it better. That's kind of the point, right? So what I think happened is that they took the Heart of Azeroth UI and assets or whatever, the art, literally, and they thought, well, I can make an ability tree with that. And that's literally what they did right here. And as you can see, the way it works is that it's the exact same thing as Blizzard, but with a million times more options, which is not necessarily a good thing. And also, you can go into the same tree if you want. You don't just get one choice per tier. However, it's completely random in this regard, because the whole idea is supposed to be, well, if you want to, you can get all the abilities down here if you want, except you can't, because the strongest abilities are at the top of the tree. So it literally does imply that you'd want to keep making your way up all the way to the top, right? Grab something up here, for example, Serpent Lord or whatever. I didn't even know you could get these top tier talents. You used to not be able to. I think they used to require level 51. That's very interesting. We'll look at Serpent Lord real quick, I guess. But yeah, if you look at this right now, and you look at what I have chosen, and you suppose that maybe I'll get 3 extra abilities by the time I hit max, it's not even that deep at the end of the day. It's just kind of all over the place. And by the way, guys, here is Serpent form. Like I said, it's actually taking the place of your Spider form. You get 20% more movement speed. You get 5 rage whenever you attack from behind. That's really neat. And then all damage you do has a chance to apply Fang Venom. Okay. But yeah, the basic point of me going over that history real quick once again is to actually lead up to this, which is from the Conquest of Azeroth Discord. It's their most recent post all the way back in April 22nd, or at least the most recent relevant post. Now, I think I was able to tell you guys about this one on the February 26th post. I think I made a video about that, but they basically said that they were still doing the same thing they've been doing for a year and a half, but with an added focus of we're going to add class trainers and early game quests and stuff like that as well. And they're also making up for their mistakes, right? Reducing bloat, which is something I was talking about for the year and a half that we played the game, and now they're finally like, okay, yeah, it is way too far, and so they're doing that as well. So that's pretty good, and I expressed that, and you guys did not get a really happy reaction about that, and I get it. You were not happy about that at all. Again, that's why I started this video off kind of by telling you guys about how, you know, so many of you guys are saying, hey, was Koa a cash grab? Is this something I should be worried about? Is it even coming out, Mcdoubles? Are you going to even play it? And like I said, I don't think anything nefarious is going on at all. I think there's a little bit of just, you know, too big for their britches, thought they could do something that they couldn't really do in the time frame that they set out to do it in, and, you know, it was just too big of an endeavor, basically, right? With that being said, back to the April 22nd post, this is when they tell us very, very clearly that they are going to be making a new talent system based on the Dragonflight talent system, which I have been told before this post, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. So we're going to get Dragonflight-esque talents, very similar to what Shinobi Story did. I heard that they did that on their beta right now. They're copying the Dragonflight talents, but for their ninja stuff. That's a good idea. I do think that's a great idea. But this is where I get something that really, really concerns me. Like, bad. And based on this pleading face by so many people, I guess it concerned them too. But it's this part right here where they say we're only a quarter of the way done until the initial release. Yet it's been almost 2 years. So guys, if they go at the same pace they've been going at, I'm not even being pessimistic. I think that you're not going to see this until the end of 2024, if not 2025, and God forbid 2026. But yeah, 2024 is basically when we're going to see Koa. I don't know how to feel about that considering we started in 2021. But I do want to know what you guys think, because ultimately that's the point of me making this video, with this excerpt of this video, is what do you guys think of that? I guess I'm still waiting for that level 60 alpha to come out, but at the same time, I just don't even know what's going to be happening when this game eventually comes out. Let me be totally real with you guys. As somebody that's been in the scene for a long time, and I think I'm the biggest one based on sub count and stuff that focuses on private server stuff, I'll be as real with you as I can be, because I have to do research on this in a way in which almost nobody ever would. I really don't think the private server scene is like this indefinite thing that's going to be around forever in a big way. I really do think it has 3 more years at maximum in terms of being significant before, you know, other things come out, people get too old, people have families, people graduate from college, and people move on. That's just realistic. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, hasn't it always been that way? People always thought it was going to go away. Absolutely not. But Dragonflight is kind of the beginning of the end in many ways, if not Shadowlands, right? Or even BFA. In other words, Blizzard is definitely knocking on the door of the end of World of Warcraft, and you have to admit that. Private servers were always going to exist in a universe in which retail WoW was going strong to any varying degree. But I wonder what's going to happen when retail WoW starts to go away and people start to get their fill of Vanilla Plus, which is all the rage on places like Turtle WoW and Duskhaven, and then Epoch WoW, which they are in the perfect position right now, Azeroth at War as well, because they can take the next 1, 2, or 3 years and have all the people play their stuff. But if you're not going to release your server until 2024 or 2025, I just wonder what that's going to look like someday. Now, I might actually be making a video 2 years from now playing Koa when it comes out, and I'm like, hey guys, it's amazing, and here we all are. There's still all of us, thousands of us here to play. And if that happens, hopefully I quote this video, somebody can remind me, and we can all be happy. But I think it's a fair thing to be scared of, right? Think about very deeply about this, guys. If they tell you the server is not going to come out until a point in time in which you don't even know if people are going to actually care, does it matter that it's going to come out at that time at all? That's my current concern, if you want complete and utter honesty. Now, with all that out of the way, with my little speech out of the way, let's just take a quick look at how this serpent form stuff might play, and then we'll go ahead and call it a day, and you can let me know in the comment section below what you guys think so far of Koa, how it's going, how it might not be coming out based on what they've told us until like 2024 in the middle of it, or maybe even 2025. Once again, if they're a quarter of the way there after a year and a half, and then we try to say, okay, maybe that first year and a half was the hardest year, you're still looking at middle of 2024, and I think that's extremely fair. But I'd love to be wrong. Remember, I'm not over here like, aha, I got you. I'm over here like, hey, this is just what I've observed. This is just what I think's happening. But damn, I would love it to be different. So, okay, I've showed you guys most of the stuff that this spec starts off with, but we also have this, apparently. Face Melter deals nature damage every 2 seconds for a long amount of time. Scales with intellect and spell power. Very weird, right? So you're gonna have an intellect spell power thing with your agility stalker spec. Now, there's a bunch of Fang Venoms you can use as well. I wonder how many of these you can use. It looks like you can use like literally all of your Fang Venoms, right? So this one does extra nature damage. Okay, any combination of 2 Fang Venom can be active at a time. So you can have 2 at a time. Okay, that's at least interesting. Crippling Web, pull the enemy towards you. Okay, well, what does that look like? Let's just see. Crippling Web. Okay, well, that was weird. Pulls the enemy target towards you, taunting them. I don't think it pulled him, but it did taunt him. You have things like Leg Strike, Organo Cannon, Burst out of your burrow. Okay, let's go in a burrow real quick. Okay, so it says burst out of your burrow and root yourself in place for 10 seconds. While active, your Night Web poison ability has no cooldown and does more damage. Okay, I've got it on my bar, so it applies Fang Venom effects to my enemy and then does more nature damage. Okay, so let's check this out. Okay, Organo Cannon. Now, I burst it out, right? I'm ready to go, and apparently... Oh, I see. It kind of reminds me of the Dota Venomancer in this regard, right? So I just start shooting them. That's actually really, really badass. I'm not gonna lie. But can you see how it feels like I still don't understand how this is supposed to be played? There's an intellect spell power version of this, but you would assume it would be agility based as well. So I wonder how they're going to slim all this down. Skitter, what does that do? Skitter forward up to 20 yards. Wow, there's so much mobility. That's another thing as well. Like, look at this. This is spammable for some reason. That's probably a bug, right? No, it actually has multiple charges. I get it now. Because remember, guys, I can actually still use this other one that we showed, which was, let's see, it's Spider Jump. Look at this. So I have Spider Jump despite being in snake form, but then I can also skitter as well. Like, the mobility in this game is going to be absolutely insane. I don't know. I find this very interesting, though. Like, the thing is, like, they've clearly, whoever's doing their art and their animations and getting everything together to make it work in that regard, they're very talented. And, like, that's one of the craziest things, because the only thing that really holds Ascension back is often their design with their balance and stuff like that. Whoever's doing those ideas, it's never to the same par, the same quality as the guys that are handling the creation of their custom UIs, cosmetic stuff, anything like that. Even individual ability and random enchant design is at a whole different level than the overarching macro design, which I feel like it lacks. And I don't really know how to pin that properly, but that's just me as a critic. Now, I know we looked at a very random version of the spec. I want to go over a few of the talents and maybe a couple extra abilities as well, just to give you guys an idea of what's going down with the Stalker right now. So just to point out some other things, we have Paralyze, the ability to put something to sleep. We could try that. Nice, like a Wyvern Sting or Wyvern Sting, however you prefer to say it, but a little bit more overpowered because it's instant cast, 15-second cooldown as well. There also seems to be a lot of synergy when you use things while tunneling, so this one has a massively reduced cooldown, even lower than 15 somehow, if you're tunneling while you use it. Now, we can see on this guy, like, let's see, Leg Strike. Okay, so it's just big damage, it looks like, that scales with intellect, though, and generates rage. So it looks like, even though I think at first glance this should be an agility-based spec, it might actually just be the case that they intend for you to wear full intellect gear with this and generate rage, which, okay, if it works, I guess. I guess that would make it a lot more unique in that regard than just a feral cat. I mean, look at this, Fang's Guidance, increase your AP by 40% of your intellect. So yeah, it's all coming together there, that makes perfect sense. Spider Feast, your attacks from behind on your target in Stalker form now give you 5% more attack speed, stacking, I guess, right? Up to 10 times, okay? Every time this occurs, you also get Acid Fang, increasing the quickness of your next Face Melter by 3%. That's interesting. Let's look at Face Melter real quick. Not enough rage. Okay, let's build some rage then. Okay, I built some rage. Okay, so it's just a dot, like I read out before. I think it's just a dot. So I guess quickness means it's like the tick faster, right? It just ticks faster. Okay, I get that. Withering Venom consumes a lethal toxin. I guess that comes from... Actually, it comes from spamming Venom Fang, right? We talked about that when we were leveling up to 15. So it consumes that to do even more damage over time. So there's going to be a lot of dots, right? It's definitely very heavily influenced, I think, from like the Hydralisk Dota 2 type of thing, right? Widowmaker is the last on-use ability to look at, which is just doing shadow damage of all things, applying Fang Venom, and just straight up giving you 20 rage immediately, but only usable on execute phase. It also has a cast time, weirdly enough. So that's very interesting. I mean, I actually think it's really well designed. I just think there's too much going on. Like, for example, like Paralyze should be on like 3 times the cooldown. If you're gonna have 2 crazy gap closers, they need like double the cooldown, you know what I mean? Especially the one where you can use it like 3 times, this one. Like, I know it's on a charge-based system, but still. And like, look at this, has no cooldown below 3 uses within 15 seconds. That's so insane. Because it would be good enough if it just had 1 use, and you have to be honest and say that. Like, it's definitely true. But like, it's so well designed, it's just obviously crazy OP. And obviously, this all needs to be changed as well. There's like too much for me to even go over, and that's a big issue I had when going over all of the classes on my previous videos, you know, when we were all hype about this, is that there's just so many random abilities, you can't even begin to think about how this is supposed to play. I think I showed you guys on my Witch Doctor, I had like 30 abilities on my bar, and I was actually hyper prioritizing passives. I mean, can you believe it? But it's so awesome and fun and well designed. Like, the people that have like the creative aspects of them tied to their job on Ascension, they do good. They do really good. These people, I said this before, when they design their random enchants and stuff, the creativity, really impressive. But when it comes to balance, oh my lord, Ascension, man, not too good. It never has really been that great. And I think a lot of you guys are on the same page with me in that regard, right? I think you all agree. You're like, oh my god, they're doing a damn good job with the design in terms of the cosmetic aspect of it, the names of the abilities, the function of the abilities, even if they're sometimes bloated, right? But for the most part, it's pretty nice and incredible. But the balance, oh lord, man, where is that even gonna go? I would be doing a lot more in this video. It's not out of laziness. It's just nobody's playing on the closed alpha because you have to pay to get in, and also they messed up so much. They're so randomly in a weird direction right now that if you do want to play Koa, why wouldn't you just wait for the new talent system and possibly the 60 alpha? So most people that own Koa, like myself, they're just waiting, and that makes the most sense as well. But anyway, guys, I wanted to show you guys Serpent Form. I wanted to talk about it, and I want to bring up one other thing about this post. I gave them pretty heavy criticism in my last Koa video, and I basically said that they're trying way too hard to perfect things in the alpha, and not only that, but they get on these tangents where they're like, you know what, we're going to perfect this ability tree, and then they waste a year of their life on it, and it ends up being the wrong decision, even though people are telling them that, and then they end up changing their mind and wasting a lot of time. And so one of the things that he ends up putting in here to try to like tackle that concept is, we don't plan to get bogged down on trying to perfect things internally before we put the system update live on Rexar. We just want to get the systems in your hands ASAP. So what does that mean? Are we going to get these semi-unfinished Dragonflight talent trees really quick? Maybe in July or June, and they're going to try to... I bet you what's going to happen is when Azeroth at War and stuff are trying to put out their betas, that's when you're going to get Ascension Koa. Because they are trying to think big brain about this stuff, you know? I do know that they're definitely doing that. I can confirm that. But yeah, they are trying to say, hey, listen, we're going to like actually just put it all out there soon. I really do hope so. If they do that, I'll show you guys the Dragonflight stuff ASAP, but this was just like a small extra video about Koa, and of course I'm going to get back to playing the Bard, but they were doing some updates for that, so I'm going to be playing it now after they've, you know, fixed it and stuff like that. Put out another video for it soon. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Major thanks to the members on my channel. Love and appreciate you guys, but I hope to see you all in the next one. Mcdoubles out.